Hey guys, JV here with a new episode of my Mass Effect Andromeda Pathfinder Guide series. Today we're looking at profiles, which is Andromeda's version of a hybrid class system. Profiles are a lot more flexible and allow you to take what your Pathfinder is good at in terms of combat and boost it even further. In this video, we'll go over what profiles are, how to unlock them, and how to use them to your advantage. If you're worried, there are no spoilers in this video. This is just covering the basics of combat profiles since the game is just hours away from launch at the time of recording. Before we start, quick reminder that you'll find Andromeda tips and tricks guides, multiplayer, and my streamed playthrough, which starts back up at 4 p.m. Central today. I'm so excited. We're picking up right where we left off with no story restrictions, and I just can't wait to resume that. So if any of that interests you, be sure and subscribe to my channel. As we know, traditional classes are gone in Andromeda, and there are no restrictions on which abilities you can use. No longer at the beginning of the game do we pick a class, and that, designates what we're going to use throughout the game. You start Ryder out with a training background, but this is not a class. That's just a starting power and a few extra things, and as we covered in my previous video, there's really no consequences for choosing a specific training. Profiles are an entirely different thing, and in the first 5 hours of the game, you'll gain access to profiles at a specific story point. They won't be unlocked automatically, you'll have to wait to get them. And once you do, they allow Ryder to switch combat specializations. And the big difference for profiles versus traditional rigid classes is that they specialize Ryder based on the abilities and powers chosen. You get a set of bonuses that boost what you're already good at instead of the other way around where you choose a specialization and then you're given, a set of abilities that you can use. In addition to the bonuses, each profile also grants a special ability, and we're going to go through, I'm going to show you gameplay of each individual one so you can see which one you want to go for. But long story short, profiles are not restrictive. You can swap them in and out. They are not like rigid classes. They're much more in line with the new abilities, powers, and classes system of this game. In terms of unlocking profiles, it's fairly self-explanatory. You can find the requirements for the profiles that you don't have on the right side of the screen in the Pathfinder Profiles menu. In order to unlock the very first rank and actually use that profile, you will need to invest 6 points across a number of categories. So the only 3 categories we have in the game are combat, biotics, and tech, and that's how we get 6, plus the 7th one is special. But if you do want to unlock all of the profiles, you can actually do that at level 6. It's fairly easy, and all it does is require 6 points in each tree. So you just saw me put 6 points into the combat tree. That unlocked the soldier profile for me. Nothing super complicated about that, but I'm going to now go down to both biotics and tech and put 6 points in each of those, and that's going to unlock the rest of the profiles. I'm going to get 3 from doing this right here, 2 or 3, then the final one is going to give me the rest of them, and that'll unlock all of the profiles. And the reason I'm showing you this is because fairly early in the game, you can unlock all 7 profiles, and you can play around with them. So I definitely suggest to you guys, once you hit level 6, if you're on the fence about this, respec, go to the med bay in the Tempest, respec, make a save, and then test out all of the different profiles, see which one of them you like. Before we move on, I just want to point out that profiles also have ranks. So once you unlock them initially by only putting 6 points in a number of, trees for your abilities, that's only rank 1. And so you can rank up those profiles by adding more points into those specific trees, and that'll give you improved versions of the bonuses that you already have. First, we're looking at the soldier profile, which requires points invested into combat, and what you get from this is bonus weapon damage, weapon accuracy, damage resistance, and weapon clip size. And the special ability here is Marksman's Focus, which grants an escalating damage bonus for every target killed in a short time. The way you know it's working is if you look at your weapon and you have this kind of blue tech glow thing going on. I think you can see it right now in the gameplay. I'm trying to skip around to points where I actually do have it, but it's in rapid succession. You do need to kill enemies within, I want to say 5 seconds at the most, and then you will get this bonus. I think this is one of the best examples of how profiles are not restrictive, because you can use the soldier profile with any setup in the game and it's going to be useful to you. It's all about boosting your weapon, and you're going to use your weapon no matter what. You get those, passive bonuses, you get the rapid succession kills, which again is going to help you no matter what. Doesn't matter which weapon you're using either, this is going to help you. And so soldier is a very good profile to use if you're into, focusing on your weapons. Engineer profile requires points invested into tech, and the bonuses you get from here are all combo damage, tech construct health, health regeneration, damage, and then tech restoration and defense. So the special ability you get from this is Combat Drone, which is a small drone that improves recharge rate for tech powers and self-destructs with an EMP pulse if enemies get too close. Right here, you're going to see the self-destruct. Because that enemy got too close, it actually EMP'd and killed that enemy, and then you lose the recharge rate after the drone is destroyed, but it does come back after a short recharge. This one has a lot of utilities, and it is specific for tech powers, so you really don't want to use Engineer unless you're using at least one tech power, right? But I like the survivability of the EMP pulse. I think that is useful, and it's something that will save your life in certain situations. The Added profile requires points invested into biotics, obviously, and the bonuses are to biotic force, area of effect damage, area of effect radius, biotic effect duration, and combo radius. The special ability is Biotic Echoes, which gives your biotic combos an opportunity, a chance to set off additional explosions on each enemy they touch. This is a very potent profile. If you choose the biotic abilities that you really enjoy and you know how to pull off biotic combos, you can wreak havoc, just deal a ton of damage to your enemies. Personally, if you're going to use this profile, I would stick to at least 2 biotic abilities at all times, just because of the synergy and that special ability, which only focuses on those biotic power combos. On top of that, you also get biotic jumps and evades, which is just a cool cosmetic looking thing. It doesn't affect anything in the gameplay whatsoever, but it's cool to see that your powers are reflected with the jumps and evades. The Sentinel profile requires points in biotics and tech, and the bonuses you get for this one are to all combo damage, tech recharge speed, power shield cost reduction, and power restoration and defense. The special ability is Tech Armor, which returns. It's a passive this time. It absorbs a significant amount of whatever damage gets past your shields. This is a little odd to me because you can see the animation activate even when you still do have some shields, but then you can tell that you get a significant amount of damage resistance once your shields are actually down. And so I'm going to let a little more creatures hit me just to show kind of the effectiveness of this thing. But yeah, you get the cool animation, which is something I've always loved. The look is very similar to what we had in the original trilogy. And in terms of how you can take advantage of those passive bonuses and the tech armor, I think it's really versatile, almost as versatile as the soldier. Maybe not as much, but there are a lot of different tech and biotic abilities that you can combine into your 3 active powers to use in combat. And the tech armor is just a defensive thing that's going to help no matter what. Overall, I'm glad to see that the Sentinel is still one of the most versatile classes, profiles that you can play around with in the game. Vanguard requires points in combat and biotics, and the bonuses you get are to melee damage, melee force, biotic recharge speed, power shield cost reduction, and max shields. The special ability is Siphoning Strikes, which has your melee attacks restoring part of your shields. This one is actually really cool, and it makes sense for a Vanguard type character that's going to be up close and personal. So as I let this guy hit my shields down, you see I killed it, and it had that little animation with the blue effect, and I got more of my shields back. That's really awesome, and it synergizes so well with being able to charge in there, you know, drop a Nova and then melee in order to get your shield back. It's really playing into that role of high risk, high reward. While I don't think this is one of the most versatile profiles, I do think it's awesome that you can focus on melee combat and getting up close and personal. That's what this one's all about. People were wondering, can you make a melee only class and focus on that primarily? Apparently the game is designed in such a way that you do need to use your weapons, but it's probably possible to focus on this and focus on melee combat. Infiltrator requires points in combat and tech, and your bonuses are to weapon accuracy, weapon stability, tech recharge speed, and weapon headshot weak point damage bonus. The special ability is Battlefield Awareness, which allows you to observe enemies through walls in any object using a scope. So you can tell right now that that enemy is on the other side of the rock, on the other side of the terrain, and the fact that I do have the Infiltrator profile on allows me to see through those objects. While scopes are traditionally for snipers, you can put them on any manner of weapon in the game, which makes this one pretty versatile in my opinion. If you're going to use a combination of, powerful weapons and tech abilities, then you can use Infiltrator no matter what. The Infiltrator also gets cloak evades, which just look really cool. You don't get a cloak jump, which I kind of wish you did get, but if you boost side to side, forward, backward, you do get this nice little effect here that just looks really cool. Again, it doesn't affect combat in any way. It's purely cosmetic and just looks awesome. Explorer requires points in all 3, combat, tech, and biotics, and the bonuses you get are to weapon damage, damage resistance, tech recharge speed, biotic power damage, and power restoration and defense. The special ability here is Biotic Blink, and it's an evade that allows you to quickly traverse a short distance, even seemingly passing through solid matter. Don't get me wrong, this one is really cool. You can go through rocks, you can go through walls and all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's an awesome little utility there, but I just don't think it's as strong as other things that you could be having with other profiles. So I'm not super impressed with that. I'm also not super impressed impressed with kind of spreading yourself thin. I know that the Explorer is all about the variety and having points in every single category, but I don't know. Biotic Blink just doesn't seem to have the same amount of power that the other abilities do. Maybe it's very good for evading certain situations. I haven't had, a ton of experience with this one specifically, but if you're into variety and trying out a bunch of different things and you want an extra escape ability in your back pocket, then hey, maybe Explorer is for you. Final thing we're going to look at is what happens when you respec your abilities. What happens when you spend a bit of credits and get everything wiped and then start from square one. So looking at it right here, I've got a Sentinel type character already. That's what I went with. And then I'm going to the Medbay and the Tempest. Again, you'll unlock this fairly early, spending a bit of credits to respec. And then this is what happens. So obviously you don't have any of your abilities anymore, but when you go over to the Profiles tab, you lose your profiles. For some reason I have Engineer. I think that's a little bug glitch there because I don't have, however many points invested into tech. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you lose your profiles. It makes sense. You're going to lose your profiles when you respec because you don't have those points invested. So if you respec, you have to redo all of your profiles, and as you spend points, you'll unlock them once again. Just some closing thoughts on profiles. I really like the flexibility of this system. I mean, there's really no one way to go about these profiles and which abilities that you should use with them. You get the passive bonuses and the special abilities that aren't really restricting to any specific set of abilities. You've got more defined ones like the Abbot or the Vanguard, and then a lot more flexible ones like Explorer, Soldier, like I mentioned, Sentinel. All these ones could really go any way. And so I'd like to hear from you all in the comment section below. What profile will you choose? Which one are you going to try to focus on throughout the game? I'd love to hear your plans for Andromeda profiles in the comment section below. I hope you learned something new or just enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe for tips and tricks guides, multiplayer, and my stream playthrough, which once again is continuing at 4 p.m. Central today. We've got no restrictions. We're continuing the story full steam ahead all this week, so you're not going to want to miss that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.